Hi, Integrated Math 1. Welcome to lesson 4.2.2b. We're doing day 2 of our relative frequency distributions. Yay! So to kick things off, I just want to remind ourselves of the lovely table we made last time, right? You remember this? So the idea of a relative frequency is that we're actually taking our number, our raw data, and dividing it by the total number of participants. So that gives us percentages, and it makes it a lot easier to compare these things. We did a really great job with the table last time, so we're going to kick it up to the next level this time. You know what's coming, right? Bar graphs. So previously, you've used a bar graph to visually represent data. Another way to represent data is to use a stacked bar graph, in which the bars are stacked on top of each other as opposed to sitting next to each other. So let's consider the marginal relative frequency distribution from that previous activity that we did last time. And again, I'll have it on my screen for you. The stacked bar graph shown represents the activities preferred during hot weather by age group. So if we come here, instead of having our bars like boop, 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 boom next to each other, we stacked them. So on the first graph, you can see that we took our age group as our X and then our activities as our Y. So we have under 18, 19 to 50, and our over 50 age group. And then we have the percent of people surveyed. And so what we did is we said, okay, well, sports for under 18s, sports is 7.1%. So here's 5. We went a little above that. Movies is 10.7%. So we added 10.7 on top of that. So if we did 7.1 plus 10.7, we stacked it on top. That takes us to 17.8. So here's our next chunk. Our reading is at 7.9%. So we added our 7.9% on top of that, which takes us to 25.7, so just barely over 25%. And then we added our 2.9% on top of that, so plus 2.9, and that takes us up to 28.6, and so there's our little bit. Now again, please notice that there's a key. The dark green is the sports, the light green is the movies, the diagonal is the reading, and the really pale green is our walking, okay? And then we did this again for our 19 to 50-year-olds, and we did it again for our over 50-year-olds, so you get the idea. I want you to do the other version of the bar graph though, right? I mean, you had to know this was coming. This can't be a surprise to you. So where we have our activities here and our percent of people surveyed on the side. So now you're going to stack the age groups on top of each other. So you'll have 3 stacks. You'll have your under 18s, your 19 to 50-year-olds, and your over 50-year-olds. And you're going to stack, 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 okay? Go ahead, hit pause to make your stacked bar graph, and then hit play when you're ready to check your work. So I'm going to use different colors, right? This is what I do. I'm going to use different colors. So I'm going to start off with the red. I'm also going to have my calculator handy to help me out. So let's talk sports. For sports, my first chunk is only 7.1%. So I'm going to go up. Oh dear. I'm going to go up a little past the 5 there. It's not perfect, but you get the idea. So there's my red is my students age 18 and under. Okay. And actually, let's make this easier. I'm just going to write under 18. Ha. So I'm just going to write under 18. Cool. I'm going to keep the red going. For my movies, my people are at 10.7%, so a little bit past 10, just a tiniest bit. Oh gosh, tiniest bit past 10. It's not very good here. For my reading, it's 7.9%, so just a hair taller than my sports. For walking, I've got 2.9%. That's like really small, so it's like down here. Again, you can tell these aren't perfect. I'm going to go ahead and grab my next color. Let's go with that green. So for my green, let's make green our 19 to 50 crowd, shall we? Our 19 to 50 crowd, let's see. So there's only 3.6% that like sports for our over 50 crowd. So 7.1 plus 3.6, that's going to take me up to 10.7. So it's going to take me up to about the same height as this guy right here. Oh, dear. My pen is not playing nice. If I do these guys, I'm going to stack them. So 10.7 plus 11.4. That takes me up to 22.1%. So it's 22.1. It's about there. Again, not perfect, but we get the idea. For my reading, I'm going to add these together, 7.9 plus 8.9, and I'm now up to 16.8%. So if that's 15, I'm going to go just a little bit past that. Not a lot, but a little bit past that. And of course, for walking, I'll add these together, 2.9 plus 15.4. And that takes me up to, 18.3%. Okay, so that actually takes me past this one, doesn't it? There we go. One more. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my nice blue, and I'm going to say that I'm having issues. I'm going to make it prettier. I'm going to grab my blue. I'm going to say that my blue is my over 50 crowd. All right, so for my over 50, I need to add another 1.8% on that. So if I add all of these up, that actually takes me to 12.5. It actually has it right there. Wow, I didn't even make it. I didn't even break it. All right. For my movies, if I add all these up, that takes me up to 29.3 if I add that 7.1 on there. So 29.3, it's just a hair under 30. For reading, of course, if I add all these up, that takes me to 29.3 again. So now I match right up again, just a hair under 30. I match right up here. And for my walking, if I add all of these up, I get to 28.9. So I'm going to add on here. It's a little bit less than that one. Not a lot less, but a little bit less than the other two. So I added on my 10.7%. I added on my 12.5. I added on my 7.1. And I added only 1.8%. It was very little on that one. But there you go. Isn't that pretty? And we got it all color-coded. Now, again, if you don't have different colors, maybe you could like do slashes one way, and maybe for a different category, slashes another way. Maybe you could color some in or leave it blank. It's up to you how you want to make it work. I'm just using different colors. It's the easiest way for me to show it. After all that hard work, though, I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to bring up the nice, pretty one that the book did. It's a little easier to use. So, question number 2 on page 78. How do the graphs compare to the relative frequency distribution table you completed in the previous activity? How are these, related? Go ahead and pause, jot down your thoughts, hit play to keep going. So, the relative frequency distribution represents percents for each category, right? As they relate to the total number of occurrences. The bar graphs provide that visual representation to make it easier to make comparisons. Look how easy it is to compare your age groups now. Look how easy it is to compare your different activities now, right? Right, that's why we like these. Stacked bar graphs are a little bit of a pain, but they really do make it really easy to compare, right? Just saying. So what conclusions can you draw by examining the graphs? And you may have noticed something different than what other people noticed, and that's okay. So go ahead and write down your thoughts. What did you notice? Hit pause to write it down, hit play to compare it to what I noticed. So I noticed a few things, and again, you may notice something different. That's okay. This is what I saw. In the graph with the age group on the x-axis, right, my age group people, I can see that movies are the most preferred activity. Do you see how movies are like the biggest, fattest chunk there? For students under 18, actually I should say that I'm going to try that again. I can do this. Movies are the most preferred activities for our under 18 crowd, right? It's the biggest chunk in our under 18 crowd. Walking is the most preferred activity for our 19 to 50-year-old crowd. As someone who's in that crowd, I would agree with that statement. But you can see it's the biggest chunk of our bar. And then for our over 50 folks, you can see that reading is the biggest chunk of the bar. So again, it's really easy to compare, right? On this other one, though, I noticed something different, right? Because we're doing sports, movies, and reading. In the graph where the activity is the x-axis, I can see that students under 18 are definitely the biggest group who preferred sports. I can see that 19 to 50-year-olds were the biggest group that preferred movies and walking, right? Movies and walking. That middle group, that 19 to 50-year-olds, they're the biggest chunk. And I can see that for my adults over age 50, the largest percent of, they were the largest percent who preferred reading, right? This is the biggest chunk. So again, you may have noticed something different on these bar graphs. That's just what I noticed. Can you name some advantages of graphing the data by age group, and then maybe name some advantages of graphing the data by activity? Hit pause, jot down your thoughts, hit play to keep going. So again, this is just what I came up with. You may have seen other advantages that I didn't notice, and that's cool. As far as my age group goes, I found that graphing by age group allows me to easily see that the age group with the most participants is that 19 to 50-year-old crowd. And then the age group with the least participants is the 18 and under crowd, right? I can see this is the tallest stacked bar. This is the most people that participated. This is the shortest stacked bar, so the fewest people participated there. Again, maybe you noticed something, saw different advantages there. The advantages I noticed of my graphing by activity was it really helped me see what the most and least popular activities were. Like in this case, I was easily able to see that sports is the least popular activity. Movies, reading, walking, they were all pretty equal in popularity, but I can definitely see nobody wants to play sports when it's hot outside. And that's fair, right? So now that we have all this, we've got graphs, we've got our data table, we've got all the bits. Now that the community outreach director has gathered all the data about preferred activities in hot weather, he wants to use them to plan different activities for the summer. So he's got our marginal relative frequency distribution. That was from last time. We now have our bar graphs, which we did this time around. I would like you to analyze each of these activities. He's listed off here on page 79, A, B, C, D, E. There's a whole bunch of them. He's listed off a whole bunch of activities, and I would like you to analyze them. Using our data, using our graphs, our tables, can you determine whether you think the activity would be a good idea to have during the summer? Remember, hot weather. And I'd like you to use the data to justify your answer. Go ahead and hit pause, answer each of these sections, and then hit play when you're ready to check your work. So first of all, a walking club for community members aged 19 to 20. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think this would be a really good idea. Walking was the most popular activity for community members aged 19 to 50. So yeah, putting together a walking club definitely sounds like people would take advantage of that. A soccer tournament for community members over the age of 50. That's a horrible idea. Sports were the least popular activity for adults over 50 years old. The over 50 crowd, like only 1.8% of them would do that in hot weather. That's a terrible idea. Don't do a soccer tournament for the old folks in the summer. That's an awful idea. Nobody's going to want to participate. An ultimate frisbee league for community members aged 18 or younger. This one's a harder gauge. It could be a good idea, right? Sports were somewhat popular with the community members aged 18 and under, but it wasn't the most popular. And so it might be a good idea, but he also might not get as many members as he likes, right? Because it seemed like there were other things that people preferred to do in the hot weather. So he might get some of his 18 and under crowd to participate, but yeah, it's kind of dicey on that one. So it could be a good idea. Hard to say. As always, I hope you found this helpful. I hope you found this useful. If you have questions or concerns, come talk to me. I'm around, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.